Hi, my name is Jared Miyamoto, and today we'll be talking about relationships and ethics in ministry. This subject encompasses a wide range of topics, including relationships with God and self, relationships with family and friends, with church and ministry, and relationships with the community and the world. Then, when we go into the ethics component, we can cover issues dealing with the many cultural and social topics of our time, along with creation care and care for animals. We also can go into discussions about caring for ourselves or others going through discouragement or depression, and also going into topics regarding the moral failures of church leaders, how we go about navigating through those moments, and even how to build safeguards to help prevent those types of failures from happening. Now, if that sounds like a lot of ground to cover, well, it is. And so for today, I'd like to focus on a few things that I hope can anchor us when we find ourselves overwhelmed by the many issues pertaining to relationships and ethics in ministry. In Matthew 22, Jesus is asked by a Pharisee, "What is the greatest commandment?" Jesus says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment." One Bible commentary says, in answering this question about which is the greatest commandment, Jesus quoted from Deuteronomy 6:5. "This is the foundation of all morality. It is the ethical pinnacle of human behavior. It serves as a divine constitution by which every moral attitude and thought, expression, and action are ultimately measured. The central directive of this commandment is to love the Lord your God with the entirety of one's life and being. It is a charge to be completely committed to God alone. It is a mandate to subject every aspect of one's choices, internal and external, in such a way to serve God and His kingdom without any allowance for competitors or rivals." And so, for our first anchor point concerning relationships and ethics in ministry, it's to love God. Be anchored into that. When dealing with any kind of situation or difficulty with relationships or ethics, we need to anchor into these questions. How are we loving God in these moments? How are we honoring Him? How are we bringing Him glory? Our second anchor point is found in Matthew 22, verses 39 to 40, the very next two verses. Again, replying to the Pharisees' question about what is the greatest commandment, Jesus continues with this. He says, "And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments." Jesus often answered questions with another question or with a parable. But for this question of what is the greatest commandment, not only does he answer plainly in verses 37 and 38, but he freely offers a second commandment as well. It seems likely this is because of the fundamental importance of this foundational truth. It is in these two commands that the true meaning of life can be sought and found. The first commandment is about loving our God, our Creator. The second commandment is about loving other people who are made in His image. We cannot follow the first commandment without following the second, and we cannot consistently follow the second without the first above it. And so, for our second anchor point, it's to love others. Every human being is an image bearer of God. When we ridicule or treat others with contempt, we are not loving, honoring, or giving glory to our Maker, our Savior, our King. We are telling Him with words or actions that this creation is less than. But Jesus raises a standard for love. In Matthew 5, verses 43 to 45, He says, "You have heard it, that it was said, 'Love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven." Hugh Halter says that if you just want to grow in concepts, you can just roll into church and grab a few nuggets for the week. You can download a sermon. But if you actually want to see change in your life, I think you have to grab a few friends and go, "Hey, I need some help with this area of my life." And so our third anchor point is to be in community. About his own journey, Hugh says, "I think I really only grew around other people. I love the scriptures, so I would read pretty well on my own, but I didn't know how to talk to God. So I would be around people who seemed to talk to God really easily, and I think that would rub off on me." When we are in community, there's opportunity for us to be discipled. There's opportunity for us to grow. There is also opportunity for us to disciple others and help them grow in areas of their need. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Another benefit of community is that we can be there for each other in hard times. Ecclesiastes 4:12 says, "Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken." And so to recap, our 3 anchor points pertaining to relationships and ethics in ministry is: number 1, to love God. Number 2, love others. And 3, be in community. When we find ourselves overwhelmed with situations regarding relationships and ethics, if we anchor into these 3 points, I believe that we will be able to weather the storm. And I'll just close with this. In John 15, Jesus says that I am the vine and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. We can have all the strategy and all the talent, but if we don't stay connected to God in whatever we do, it will not last. So it's actually 4 anchor points. Love God, love others, stay in community, and stay connected to Him. So God bless you and see you next time.